Aita for breaking up with my girlfriend over her parents? This is a long story, but I would appreciate it if someone read it and gave me some advice. This is my first Reddit post, so I'm not too familiar with how these things work, so please bear with me. I 23 have been dating a girl for about a year and 3 months now. When we first got together she warned me that her parents, mainly her father, is a bit crazy. Boy was she right. When we first got together everything was good, no issues with them, and I heard good things back from her that her parents liked me. Her dad is a very straight and arrow type of guy. His way or the highway. He has a lot of control over her, she has a curfew and is not allowed to stay over whatsoever. Don't even think about it. Which I can somewhat respect considering she still lives at home, etc. She's not allowed to attend any of the weekend trips that me and my family go on, even though her parents are invited to them as well. There was one instance where he did say yes that she could go on one camping trip with me and my family. What a fuck up. We were lying in bed at night about to go to bed. We have very limited service where we are, so text messages and phone calls kinda come when they want to. She gets a text message from her mother saying to call her ASAP, etc. We blast out to the road to try and gain some better cell service for a phone call. She reaches her mother and her mother tells her that she is here to pick her up. We passed by her on the way out but didn't clue in that it was her. We meet up with her mother and she says that her father sent her up here to get her. We are about 5 hours from home, so here we are thinking something terrible has happened for her to drive 5 hours to come get her, only to find out that he just wants her home and regrets saying yes to her going. We stood there and talked for roughly 2 hours and her mother insulted me multiple times for reasons as dumb as the genre of music I like. Let me remind you, her parents were invited on this trip but chose to stay home. They both end up staying with me and my family for the night. Her mother waking up and leaving before the sun rose due to fear of embarrassment. She goes home later that weekend to find that her mother is in trouble with her father because she went up there and tried to get my girlfriend to come home, which would then go against his word that she could go. Then my girlfriend was also in trouble for not listening to her mother. Sounds crazy, right? Just wait. Her mother has always been nice to me, making me coffees and sending me home with leftovers, etc. Her father has always been nice to me as well, even though he always has something to say behind my back to my girlfriend for something as small as the vehicle I drive isn't a high-quality, long-lasting Toyota. Just recently for Family Day I invited her family up to my father's house to go outing. Something I have done on a few occasions, but they have never taken me up on my offer. This time they did. The morning of when they were supposed to come, her dad says he isn't feeling well. Which is fine, no pressure. He ends up saying he's going to pass but that her mom can still go and he will load the ads for her and she and my girlfriend can go together. So the ads are loaded, trucks packed, they're ready to leave. At the last minute he says to her that this isn't a good idea because she's never towed this specific trailer with this truck. She's been driving big trucks and trailers for over 30 years. They owned a landscaping company together. She ends up starting to second guess herself and ends up bailing too, but she still decides to come up and she will just ride one of our machines. The day goes by, we have an amazing day, and she goes home to find him in a fit of rage that she went without him and all this other stuff from past experiences with her. Nothing bad, she's a very good wife and mother. He's just out to lunch. He ends up kicking her mother out for this and she goes and stays at a friend's house. Few days go by and she comes back and they talk. My girlfriend overhears them talking about me, mainly him yelling at her, and she's just listening. He tells her that she emotionally cheats on him with me because of how nice and helpful she is with me. The coffees, leftovers, etc. Turns out he doesn't like that she's nice to me because I haven't put in the work. Not sure what that means, he can't even explain it himself. I have helped them around their house many times, from yard cleanup to cooking dinner and breakfast. This is getting to the point where he's mentally abusing all of us and he's playing mental gymnastics to get them to listen to him and go by what he says. No one's allowed an opinion or an option. He just recently said I'm not allowed at their place anymore, which is extremely hard on my girlfriend to do all of the driving. We live about an hour apart. In the past he's complained that I don't come down enough. Now I'm not allowed at all for next to no reason other than his wife is nice to me. They stopped sleeping in the same bed and he got mad at her for sleeping in the bed that I usually sleep in when I stay over there, saying that she's only sleeping in that bed because I did. He got so mad that he punched a hole in the door while she was trying to sleep. When they both listen to him and abide by his crazy rules, the house runs smooth. When they don't, it's like the sky is falling. There has been many instances like the ones I just explained over the years that my girlfriend has explained to me. Her mother has been kicked out over a dozen times for stuff as small as this. She's a battered woman. Everyone who she talks to is telling her to leave. Me, my family, her boss, her family, and even the women's shelter she called told her to leave. She won't, so I have gave up trying with her. She recently booked a trip for her and my girlfriend to go to England to see her mother. Her dad has a big fear of airplanes, so he does not fly. Over the whole family day situation he made her cancel the trip to England, saying how if she didn't then she didn't love him. I should also mention that my girlfriend mother's mother is currently being treated for cancer and she hasn't seen her in over 10 years. She does end up canceling the trip and my girlfriend is devastated over it. Rightfully so. Anyways, there's lots more to this is just a drop in the bucket, but that's the main juicy stuff. Things are okay between her and I, but she always seems to get sucked into his crazy narcissistic ways, saying she's a terrible daughter and that her mother is an idiot for letting her date me, etc. I recently offered to let her move in with me to escape this, but she seems hesitant to leave them. I'm not going to twist her arm that if she doesn't leave to stay with me that I'm going to break up with her, but I frankly want absolutely nothing to do with her family anymore, and that's not healthy for her or I don't think. I feel bad leaving her over her family stuff, but I have to deal with these people for the rest of my life and I just know I won't be able to do it. I feel lost and muddy on how to deal with this. I don't see us lasting much longer if she stays with her family, because I will not deal with their stupid small bullshit issues with me and her dating. Mainly her father and her mother is just a spitting image of him due to reasons I have stated above. A lot of their marital issues are blamed on my girlfriend because her father is not approachable on anything, so her mother does it for her and that causes issues. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this much of a response, damn you. To answer some commonly asked questions. My girlfriend is 20. People keep missing it. We have been dating 1 year and 3 months approximately. We are both white. I have not broken up with her yet, I have just been considering it because of how bad things are with her family. I wasn't sure if it was right or fair of me to do that. My girlfriend is an only child and she has said previously she worries about what will happen to her parents if she leaves, especially her mom, and she thinks her mom will be blamed for her leaving, which I agree with. My girlfriend is also not the rebellious type, so I think doing something that she knows is blatantly against what her parents would want scares her. Update. First off, thanks to everyone for taking the time to respond. I was not expecting so many comments and so much advice. We also both really appreciate everyone's care and concern for my girlfriend's situation. It meant a lot to us both. I took everyone's advice and sat my girlfriend down for a chat before I made any permanent decisions. Despite being on Reddit asking about breaking up with her, I would actually like to keep her around. I did what a lot of you guys suggested and explained how I'm feeling with the situation with her parents and how much it puts on me. I told her how I don't see a happy future for either of us if things don't take a drastic change. I explained how when I look at my life the most stressful part is her parents and it shouldn't be that way. I also told her that I don't feel good brining my future kids into that situation and that my days shouldn't be spent worrying about her and her family constantly and waiting for the next big blow up. She was super upset that I was at the point of ending it with her. She reminded me of how she had me promise I wouldn't ditch her because of her parents, which made me feel very guilty. I told her I love her and I don't want to hurt her, but I also need to protect myself too. She said she understands that completely, and it's along that same line of reasoning for why she wants to move out, that she loves her parents but has to protect herself. She apologized several times for letting it go this far and dragging me into it. I could tell she felt absolutely horrible, which made me feel horrible in return. Something must have finally flipped for her because she asked if the offer of moving in was still on the table and I told her it absolutely was. I asked her why she changed her mind and she said that she could never look at her parents the same for being the reason she lost a good guy who she loves and that she didn't want to go backwards anymore. So she moved out, told her dad where he could stuff it, and I'm happy to say we're unpacking her stuff and getting her settled in as I type this out. She has also agreed to severely limit contact with her parents, and any contact she chooses to have with them will have nothing to do with me and they will have no place in our lives as a couple unless we're both okay with it. Update 2. I love my GF, but her dad is the FIL from hell and it's ruining us. TW, emotional abuse, manipulation, controlling parent. Looking for advice on what to do next. Note, my GF approved this post and read it over as well. I 25M met my 21F 3 years ago, things between us have been good and I see good things in her as well as a future with her. Fake names, I will call my girlfriend Alexis. The problems we have are small and manageable normal things. However, we have one very bad downfall to our relationship and it's her parents, 50s M and F. I don't even know where to begin, but I will admit Alexis did warn me of them before we started getting serious. I didn't think it would be nearly this bad though. Her dad is like the FIL from hell. He can be nice to your face but drag you down behind your back. He uses her and her mom as an emotional punching bag. He on multiple occasions has kicked her mother out over things that have happened in the past to try and fix her, and to show her that she used to be a good person, also that she used to have nothing before him and she was a way better person beforehand, so this will make things better. He's kicked her out in the middle of winter with the dog in -25 weather. I should reference that Alexis and I live together and we live an hour away. When we heard her mother was kicked out, we rushed down there to pick her up off the side of the road before she got too cold. Her mother is so manipulated that she believes she deserves this. She stayed with us for a day and one night. That morning we woke up and she had left us a note saying she was going home and that she was sorry for leaving the dog with us. He had convinced her to start walking home to prove she wanted to stay in the relationship and do the right thing. Let me remind you, we live an hour away and it was in the dead of winter. I hopped in my truck and drove over 15 minutes before I found her walking. She said she wanted to go home, so I met up with him and he somewhat scolded me for helping her. Said I shouldn't have picked her up and that she should have walked. Also that I shouldn't have picked her up in the first place. I told him you don't leave someone you love out in the cold. You can't kick someone out of a house they helped pay for. He told me she's done more harm than good to him and Alexis and she deserves it. I knew right then and there this man was absolutely *T crazy. On other occasions he has made her write out a letter detailing all that he has done wrong. Mostly money issues and not having her husband's back in certain occasions that he has put himself in. All very minor things in Alexis and my opinions. He made her hand deliver this letter to everyone in the family, stand there and tell them this is the truth. This is the same family who is extremely distant from them due to them not agreeing with how he is with her. They think they're both crazy. The letter just proved it. On Alexis's last birthday, her father told her he was going to cut her off if she didn't move back in with them. She had left and moved in with me due to their actions. When she moved in with me, I had already had a very good taste of how her parents were and I told her that their negative energy is staying there and I don't want any of that to come with her. She is currently in university and is buried in schoolwork. Her father does not care for this and says she still needs to be there for her family when times get rough. When he starts fights and starts to upset them with his actions, he expects her to drop everything and adhere to his requests. This simply isn't even remotely possible with her schooling. It's easy for him to say when it's his own doing. When she said she was not coming back on her birthday, her mother knew that shit was about to hit the fan, so she left the house and stayed with a close friend. She said he was done with him and their relationship for now and needed space from him. When he came home to an empty house, he flew into a sea of emotion and attempted to call Alexis to try and find out where her mother went. He cut off her phone, so she got new phone plan and a new number. I told her this might be a good thing to leave them for a while and focus on our own lives instead of being swallowed up by them. She ended up feeling guilty and called him to check on him since she knew what was going to happen. He pleaded to her to talk to him and get her mother to call him. He harassed her for over 2 weeks to try and get her to deal with him, and Alexis continued to let him control her and she dealt with him over this period of time. She did hold some boundaries with him, like not going back to the house and meeting in public, and she called him out for his *TTY behavior during their conversations, including asking him if he'd even be talking to her right now if her mother hadn't left. It was absolutely brutal hearing him complain to her about everything that has happened over the years and how everything went to wrong. Again, his own doing. Her mother changed her phone number and was moving on, trying to work through this time in her life. Eventually she ended up feeling sorry for him and ended up calling him, and one thing led to another and she ended up going home to him. He vowed that he would never treat her like that again and they need to focus on bigger things in their life. She took his word for it. 2 weeks ago things started happening again. He started talking like he used to about how everything is her fault and that Alexis left because of her, etc. Relating things like the chimney not being clean to Alexis' mother failing as a parent and claiming that Alexis doesn't know the meaning of family. Her mother is an amazing person if I haven't said that yet. Whenever I used to go see her before she moved in with me, she used to send me home with leftovers or make me coffee for the road, as at that time I was working long hours and nights. He told her she was being too nice to me too soon. Accused her of emotional cheating on him with me due to this because she wouldn't stop being nice to me. Eventually she ended up texting me saying I wasn't allowed coming around anymore due to this, something he made her think she had to do. This is just another instance of their craziness. Things like this happen every 4 to 6 months. It's like clockwork. You can almost sense it in the air when something it's going to go from somewhat okay to absolutely diabolical. This has been the normal ever since she was a little girl. One time her mother pissed off her dad enough for him to kick her out. Did I mention she gets kicked out a lot? Her mother went outside and was crying in the ditch down to road from her house. He took Alexis out there and said, "Look at that snake in the ditch, Alexis." It was her mother crouching down in the ditch, absolutely bawling her eyes out. Insane, right? Or is it just me? This is just a drop in the bucket of things that have happened. I could literally go on for days of this. Something I referenced earlier was I told her when she moved in with me I didn't want this coming to my house, now ours at the time. Alexis has apologized many times for this stuff following her here. I know she feels guilty for not being there for her parents and has expressed that she can't get that time back. We have gone from 0 to 100 when her mother stayed with us. After her mother left in the summer and ended up going back, I asked Alexis that if most definitely when things get crazy with them again we have to either cut them off or go extremely low contact. At the time she agreed with me, saying it's getting ridiculous. I was glad to hear her say that, as this has been happening ever since she can remember. Since this recent incident has started happening, I reminded her of our discussion and she seemed to go back on it, saying it's not that bad. I said to her, it's not that bad to you since this has been happening all your life. This is not normal and not healthy for us to go through this all the time. Since she is going back on what we agreed on, I have done some self-reflection on this and I'm having a hard time dealing with this. I love her and I want things to work out, but her and her parents' issues have been wearing me down. It's the most stressful thing I have gone through in my life. I have been cheated on multiple times by the same girl and kept on going back. I have also lost one of my best friends over that too. I have had my fair share of toxic family as well and have cut them off and never looked back. I would rather go through those 2x over than this once. I don't want to deal with this until her parents either die or maybe change. I ended up telling her last night that things aren't going to change, so we have to either cut them off or I have to move on with my life, as I cannot deal with this anymore. I know Alexis feels like I'm forcing her to make a choice between people she loves and I don't want her to feel that way. I explained that I'm not forcing her, that I'm just making a choice for myself. She ended up crying and we hugged and talked about it some more, and the consensus is we're going to let things pan out and see how it goes. I have heard this story before. I told her this on the many occasions this has happened. Alexis expressed a lot of guilt about the idea of cutting her family off. She is an only child, if I hadn't mentioned that already. She also expressed concerns about cutting them off to protect our relationship, and then what if we don't work out? What then? I can understand her concerns. We're not married, just dating and living together. But I reassured her that we are fine, and if we weren't, I'd still help her land on her feet. Alexis also said she doesn't know if there is ever any coming back from no contact. Her father is a very petty and spiteful man and she's terrified that she'll never have him or her mother in her life again if she cuts them off even for a bit, that the damage will be irreparable. She wanted me to add that she feels differently about cutting people off that I do. She knows I've cut off family before, specifically my aunt. She says it's not as easy as I make it out to be and it's extremely hard for her. I'm conflicted on what to do. What I know is that I am exhausted of this. Any advice is welcome, for me and her. Update 3. Hi everyone, first off, I want to say we both really appreciate all the comments. So we had a chat last night and Alexis, 21F, said she is willing to cut off her parents, she just needs to do it at her pace, as in when she feels it's bad enough and justified. For some added context here, after her mother came back in the summer things were actually going alright. They had come over for dinner, her father had actually expressed his pride in her, things were looking up. Things started sliding backwards a few weeks ago. Right now, her father is upset because she hasn't made stacking the firewood a priority. So she went by to do more and they had what she described as a good chat where she got some things off her chest with him. Then he turned around and got upset about the chimney not being cleaned even though she's had since the summer. Now we agree she could have got that handled earlier, but she has since reached out to offer to come back and do it, on her first available day since their conversation, and got a passive-aggressive response. He also got mad at her mother for defending Alexis. And her son made her mother write notes about her wrongdoing and has suggested that her mother not talk to Alexis for the time being because they were supposedly toxic for each other. Just a note quickly, here, Alexis has claimed that she is basing her decisions off of her father's interactions with only her and not her father's interactions with her mother. She says that she cannot jump in to save her mother every time, and her mother came back in the summer and made her choice to be there, and what comes out of that is up to her mother to deal with. Pretty much every time before this when she is evaluating how she feels about her home life, part of what she is evaluating is how her mother gets treated by her father, whereas this time she is not considering that. So she is basing her decisions and feelings off of strictly her interaction with her father. I don't agree with this because I think she should be upset about how her mom gets treated. After our conversation last night, Alexis said she's willing to cut them off, it just has to be on her terms. Right now she's not willing to cut them off and wants to feel more justified in it than over what's happening now. She claims that if she cut them off now that she would be doing it because I want her to, not because she wants to. I feel that she should cut them off now because they're showing signs of getting bad and to get away before it gets worse. And I'm not really keen on stalking around until it gets worse for her to cut them off. It just feels like we're on two different pages here and can't come together about this. I don't want to break up with her, but we're stuck. Any perspectives welcome. The only idea we've had is to set a timeline to evaluate. She has suggested a hybrid one, December 15th if things get drastically worse between now and then. She picked that day because that's shortly after the end of her semester and she wants to be able to concentrate on school, which I respect. Provided things improve or don't get worse, she suggested after Christmas, because she desperately wants a family Christmas and is scared to ruin that possibility.